Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jen. I am a woman in long-term recovery. I am also a CARC, a CRPA, a rape crisis counselor, and I am a trainer of Narcan. This is my channel, and these are my opinions and my stories of things that I have gone through with my lived life experience. If you look in the description box down below, you will see the link to my Patreon, to my merchandise, to some other things that I've been involved with, and you will also see my Amazon wishlist link, which has been updated. I use my Amazon wishlist to help people in my local area who are struggling, who just came from home from incarceration or rehab and things like that. So bear with me, guys. I feel like I can't see today. I don't have my glasses on because we had snow, and in my living room I have 8 windows, and the glare on my glasses today was crazy. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, but so I can't see. But here we are. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about shock incarceration. So in New York State, we have an alternative for people who are incarcerated. You have to have, they just changed the law, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in New York State, now you have to have 5 years or under, non-violent, which includes arson, and you can, if you are physically fit enough, and if you are under the age of 47, I want to say, you are eligible for shock. Shock is a military boot camp style program. So for me, and this is, like I said, this is my story. Everybody else's is different. So for me, I did a 1.5 years in prison. I was originally, when I first went to prison for my last bid, I was originally eligible for shock immediately right off the bat. So that means I would have done whatever time it took me to get sent to shock plus the 6-month shock program. I chose to stay in prison for a 1.5 years, and then finally decided, all right, enough is enough. I want to go home. I miss Bella. Jared's coming home soon. Like, let's get this show on the road. So the reason why I decided to stay in prison for a 1.5 years before I went to shock was because I needed to. I needed time to work on me. I needed time to get some sober time behind me. And yes, so when you're incarcerated, you can still get high, you can still do fucked up shit, you can still, there's probably more drugs inside prisons than there are in the street. But for me, if I cannot make that choice in a controlled environment, I'm definitely not going to be able to make the choice of sobriety in the real world. And I just needed some time. Jared and I's relationship now is amazing. It was not always a bed of roses. I needed some time away from him. I needed some time away from the game, pretty much. And I knew this, I had come to this realization when I was in county jail, and I needed to find me. And I know it sounds crazy, and people think like, oh, well, you were in jail, or, you were in prison. But I did a lot of work on me while I was there. I took classes. I read books. I even did a semester at Bard University. And I got to the point that I was like, all right, this is done all it's going to do, right? And it's time to get your shit together and go home. And wow, that's kind of crazy. I'm thinking about it now. So I decided in November of 2018, I'm trying to think. Yeah. Let me think. 2018, because I came home. Yeah. So I decided in November 2018 that I went to my counselor, my guidance counselor, just like at school in prison, and I decided, okay, I would like to see if I am eligible to go to shock. So I had to write a letter, and then my guidance counselor had to approve it, and it had to get sent to Albany, and Albany had to review my file and see whether I was eligible or not to go to shock. Probably a few days. I can't remember. I know it was around Thanksgiving. It was either a few days before or after Thanksgiving in 2018. I got sent to medical to do a physical to make sure I was physically fit enough to be able to, the first round of physically fit to go to shock. And I was. And I got there a week before Christmas in 2018. I did shock during the coldest months. I did it from December to June. And it is located in Brockton, New York. So Google that shit. It is in the middle of nowhere in a little teeny tiny town. And it is right off of the Finger Lakes. So you get all the lake effect snow. Whew. But I think I would rather do it during the cold time than during the hot time. So once you finally get to shock, like the process of getting there sucks. You have to be transferred from one prison to another. Then you have to wait at that prison until they come and get you the next day. And you don't have any of your stuff and you don't have clean underwear. And it's just a shit show. I was hours and hours away and it was horrible. So I get to shock, and when you get into shock, you don't know what to expect. So immediately when they pick you up, they're like, tuck your shirt in, because normally you wear like a button-down shirt and you don't tuck it in. So you tuck it in, you get in a van, you're handcuffed and shackled unbearably tight. So we get there and we go into literally a cage. Like it's like a cage. It's like, you ever see like the chain link fencing? It's like that. And you have to sit down. You have to sit at attention. So when you sit at attention, I'm going to post pictures so you guys will know what I'm talking about. But you sit at attention. Your hands have to be like this, and you just place them on your fingertips or on your kneecaps, and your feet are straight down on the floor. That's how you sit at attention. They go through all your belongings. They take your belongings and they dump them out onto like a big long table, like similar from like a craft fair or whatever. And they go through all your belongings and they tell you what you are allowed to have and what you are not allowed to have. You are not allowed any type of food related item, any hygiene products that are open, you're not allowed to keep. You are not allowed to keep hair ties because you're not going to need them. You are allowed all white panties, all white bras, all white socks. That's it. And that's the one nice thing about being at shock. Everything is brand new. Like you get everything all over again. You get all button ups, like good pants, like the Dickies, like I was talking about in my last video. You get all brand new stuff because you have to be high and tight at all times. So shock is military boot camp. That is what it is role modeled off of. The COs aren't COs, they're DIs, which is drill instructors. You are in for shock of your life going there. So after that, you have to carry your feed up bag, which looks like a bag that like feed comes in with all your belongings. It's heavy as hell. Everything you own at this point is in it. I had to send pictures home of Bella. I was super, super upset because one guy was like, no, they're allowed 50 pictures. And another guy was like, no, they're only allowed 25. So I sent them to my mother-in-law, and actually she just sent them back. So I had them. So you carry all your stuff. You're not allowed to look at anyone else. You're not allowed to look at the men. You're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed nothing. And you go into, so for the female units, for at shock, the females only have one building, which is split into two dorms, G1 and G2. So I went into, there's one side that you all go into when you first come, which is G2. Okay, so you go into G2, and then that's where you all stay and get your orientation into the program pretty much. So over there, there's girls that have been there, squad leaders, and they come over and they give you the rundown, and then you get your head shaved. You come in and your hair is shaved to 1/4 of an inch. Every 2 weeks from there on in, your hair gets shaved and you get it to 1/4 of an inch. Your last 2 haircuts, they let you go to like a 1/2 inch. Just because they know you're getting ready to leave the program and they don't want you to leave completely bald. The men get bicked down. We don't. I think honestly, it's so they can tell that we're women, because they take away every other, you can't tell women from men. I mean, besides the fact that we walk a little, with a swoosh in our hips, that's about it. So then once you go from there, you wait to get, where your platoon is going to start. So my platoon was on G1. G2 is the emotional side, the mental side, where they fuck with you mentally, but they don't PT as hard. I was like, bro, put me on the PT side, PT me to death. I don't care. I can lose a couple pounds, get my shit in shape. I do not want someone sitting here telling me how bad of a mom I am, how I'm a crackhead, how I'm this, I'm that. So I got moved over onto the G1 side. I was very, very fortunate that that's where I went. G1 is, they PT you to death, So, I go over with the girls that were waiting to start a platoon and the girls that I arrived with. We go over, we start our platoon, and we go through 0 weeks. 0 weeks is the week that they acclimate you into the program and basically teach you the exercises, teach you how to march, how to sing cadences, how to stand at attention, how to be a productive member of the platoon. They teach you the rules, the regulations, what's right, what's not. And then at the end of the 0 weeks, you have to go, it's like a test, if you will. And you wake up that morning, and it depends. Sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's in the afternoon, and you go and you do all these crazy exercises to the place where they're going to test you. So sometimes it's in the gym, sometimes it's outside. When I went, it was outside. So you get down there, and it's called the grinder. The grinder is just a piece of pavement. And then they have a platform where the drill instructor is up on top, and he calls off the exercises for you, and you do them, and they call them off rapidly, and you have to keep going. And it was snowing. There was water on the ground that was like slush, and it was icy. We had our hands on the ground. At first, it's not that bad. You're like 500 leg flutters in, and you're like, I'm going to die. But then, whatever, you kind of just, for me, I kind of like just zoned out. The biggest problem for me is I couldn't understand what the drill instructor was yelling out. So I kind of had to stop and look around and wait to see what everybody else was doing. And then after that, I had to, so the worst part for me was having to put my hands in the ice cold water to do push-ups and stuff. Our hands were so cold, I couldn't feel my fingertips. I started crying. That was bad. That was the worst part for me. And I was trying to do like this to try and keep my fingers from freezing to death. It was just horrible. That was the worst part. And then the DIs were like, because you have they call them chopper mittens. They're just mittens. They're just mittens with like a leather. That's how cold it gets there. They were like, choppers off, choppers on, choppers off, choppers on. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like they really try and, they really ride the men harder when it comes to doing stuff like this. Like there was a couple of men that got kicked out, and they were standing at the wall, like, and the DIs would go over and scream at them and get in their shit. And then let's see. So after that, you go back, and everyone in the, so you're in a dorm room, you're in a dorm area with other platoons, because the girls don't start just as one big platoon. There's like 4 or 5 platoons within each dorm, because there's such a small amount of girls. So where you're each individual platoons, you function as one whole platoon, just your graduation dates are different. So I was the Lady Bulldogs, LBD. Bulldogs is the mascot for all of Shock, and we were the Lady Bulldogs. We were like, Bulldogs was the founding platoon of Shock. So whatever. And then like a normal day, after you get past that, you're inducted into the platoon, full on. So a normal day for Shock is you wake up and literally... It's crazy. You wake up at 5:30 in the morning to a reveille, which is a music played that is similar with like the military, and you have to run into the corner of your cube and you scream, ah! And then the officer points at the first person and they say, sir 1, sir, or ma'am 1, ma'am. And it goes and everybody counts off their number. If someone screws up, you're going to have to roll your mattress up on your back and make a backpack. You take your sheets and you make like the arms and then put the backpack in it, and you do stair steppers on your mattress. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But the one thing that I can say it truly 100% taught me, there is nothing I cannot do if I put my mind to it. I mean, nothing. I made it through that. I mean, I'll do a couple of videos because this is going to be super long, but we had a body bag. I'll do a video on that. That alone, it was, oh, horrible. So what a body bag means is, obviously a body bag is equal to death. So you carry a flag, your platoon carries a flag to show it's alive and whatnot. When you get a body bag, you literally put a black bag over your flag and your platoon is dead. Worst week of my life. Worst week. So, okay, so after you wake up in the morning and you scream and you count off, you get dressed for PT, and then you go as a platoon, you run to the PT deck and you PT for about 45 minutes to an hour. You do all types of PT. You do side straddle hops, which is really jumping jacks. You do push-ups, sit-ups, leg flutters. There's like all kinds of crazy types of exercises that they make you do. And then after that, you run for probably, depends, maybe a mile, maybe 3, depends on how shitty the platoon has been or how much of a runner your DI is. The running was always the worst part for me. I'm not a runner at all. And then you come back and you either shower, depending on what happened. Like, it depends on what the day is like for you. Some people have school, some people have work, depending on what it is. For me, because I had a high school diploma, excuse me, I worked. I had outside clearance, so I would go out to this place called the Little Theater in Jamestown, New York, and clean and take down sets and whatnot. Thank God for outside clearance, because it literally got me out of the facility every day. From after breakfast to about 3:30, I was out of the facility Monday through Friday. The weekends were the worst for me because they dragged so badly. So you would either be able to shower and then go to chow, or if it was like work crew day, you would just get dressed and go to chow. And when you came home from work, then you were allowed to shower. Showers are 3 minutes long, except on Saturdays when you get a razor. Since your head is shaved, you don't really have that much to worry about. So 3-minute showers. I remember when I first came home from prison, everybody would be like, damn, you showered already? Yeah, I got no hair. I'm used to that. I got this. I'm used to this. So yeah, then you'd come back from work, take a shower. It was actually better to shower in the afternoons because you probably got like 5 minutes because you had to time yourselves. We wouldn't get too crazy because we were scared, we wouldn't get in trouble. But we didn't have to shower with everybody else. It was just our work crew that we went out with, so it made it a lot easier. And then we would get ready for the rest of our day, depending on what day it was. Like in the afternoon on Wednesdays, like in the evenings after chow, we would have ASAT, which is alcohol substance abuse treatment. So basically it was like in program, like rehab. I actually got a lot out of the people that we had teaching us. I had 2 really great female counselors, and they really cared, and it was really great. I'm trying to think what else I could tell you guys. There's not really a lot of comings and goings in the shock program because it's such a programmed program. That doesn't make any sense, right? There's not a big daily schedule because it's so regimented. It's a very repetitive program. You do the same thing day in and day out to teach you how to be consistent, how to have a schedule, how to follow through. That's basically what your day was like. So after you come back, you shower. After work crew, everyone showers, gets ready, you go to chow, and then you come back. And if you don't have program and you don't have school, like myself, I had a lot of free nights where I would do like my ASAT work, or we would do projects and whatnot. And then by 9 o'clock, you were dressed down and in bed for reveille, which is where you stand and look at the flag. I'm sorry, actually taps. Reveille is in the morning, taps. So you would stand at taps and you would look at the flag, and then you would go to bed. And let me tell you, when those lights went out, boom, I was out cold. I was exhausted. You went all day long, and there's no sitting. The only time you sit is, if you're lucky, you sit during chow. You have 8 minutes to eat, and you do not waste any of it talking. If you talk, the whole platoon will pay. There's no talking. You have 8 minutes to eat, and that's it. So at the end of the night, you were beat, man. Like, I was exhausted. I couldn't wait to go to bed. Like, while I was standing there yelling out my number in the morning, I was like, damn, how many hours till I could get back in this uncomfortable ass bed? For real. So, I mean, that's like a basic line of what it was like to be an inmate at Lakeview Shock. I will go through some stories with you guys. I'll explain to you what the body bag was and all that, but that's for another video. So I hope you guys find this informative. I know a lot of you guys have been asking. I know it sounds crazy, but truly, that was one of the best decisions I ever made for myself, because it showed me that I am capable of so much when I put my mind to it. And it showed me that there are other people out there like me, and that it made me learn to trust in a strange way, because even when I shared some of my deepest, darkest secrets, these people still had my back, And the officers are amazing people. The DIs, they genuinely care about your well-being. They want you to succeed. There were a lot of girls that went home and overdosed, and they came in and they told us, and they would cry with us, like genuine people, just good-hearted people. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this, explanation, and I will see you guys in a few days. Bye.